Hi, my name is Sarah and I am a Pembrokeshire Bluetit. I have been for about 7 years now, and this is my story of being a Bluetit. Bit of background: when I was a teenager, I was pretty anxious. I'm about 6 foot, well, 5'11", but it's easier to just say 6 foot after a while. And I have been since I was probably about 14. And that's tough as a teenager. Anything that marks you out, isn't it, it's difficult. So yeah, growing up wasn't the easiest, and I was kind of left with a feeling of not being comfortable in my own skin, just kind of standing out. I hunched quite a lot, I was a bit awkward, and most of all, I didn't have any confidence in my physical ability at all. I was quite clumsy. My family called me Bambi, and yeah, just generally didn't enjoy moving my body all that much. I was more in my head growing up. For the later part of my teenage years, my mum had cancer on and off, breast cancer, which was tough, and eventually when I was 21, so in 2013, she passed away. So I was 2 months out of university, living back at home, when she got very ill and eventually passed, and I was her only child, and I was left with her house, which in many ways is very fortunate, and in many ways is an absolute nightmare for someone who's got 1 foot in their sort of carefree 20s, figuring out who they are, and another foot in adulthood. And it left me with questions like, what the hell is life? Who am I? And ultimately, how am I going to work it out without my mum around? And around this time, I met an amazing man who is now my husband, called Ben, and he was really different to me, mostly in our sense of adventure. He was really adventurous. Our first date was in his caravan, but our second date was kayaking across the bay to a hidden beach and cooking chicken over an open fire. And on our way back, he said, "Oh, just steady the kayak," as if that was something that I knew how to do. "I'm just going to do this cliff jump that I haven't done for ages." Since then, we've talked about it, and he was as terrified as I was. Halfway up thinking, why am I doing this to try and impress? So, as happens with any new relationship, I was introduced to the family, and having come from an immediate family where I was an only child, I was introduced to his 4 brothers and sisters, and the matriarch, who is Sian Richardson. And she had started swimming with some friends down on the beach. This was 2014, so we'd been together for a little while. And they'd called themselves the Bluetits, which was funny and jolly, and it was just something that Sian did, and something that I'd watch from the beach and think, oh, that looks horrible. I quite like being comfortable. I was always the one in a puffer jacket on the beach. And then it was round about Christmas 2014, a couple of days after Christmas, and we were sat round, and I was a couple of glasses of Prosecco down probably, and Sian, it seemed casual, but now that I think about it, she'd probably had it in her sights for a little while, turned to me and said, "We're swimming on the beach tomorrow morning, are you coming?" And I said, yeah, of course I can do that, because I was a little bit well-oiled. And then I woke up the next morning with such a clear thought of I can't do this. Like, no way can I do this. So I said to Ben, I'm not doing it, I can't do it. And he said, I'll make you a bacon sandwich if you do it. And which is always the way to my heart. So I ended up on the beach in my dressing gown, I think. There was frost on the beach and the water was about 8 degrees. And I waded in with Sian and one of her friends and thought, this is awful. Just as I had expected it to be. And then about a minute later, I had this overwhelming feeling of calm and of bliss. And it was like the most intense meditation I've ever done. All that matters is the water and your body. Everything else just pales into insignificance. I wasn't tall Sarah who was worried about Ben's family liking me or what I was going to do with this house or whether Mum would have been proud of me. I was just Sarah, and I honestly think it's the first time I've ever felt that. And then I said, oh, I'm feeling a bit warm now, and Sian told me very unceremoniously to get out of the water because that's when, yeah, you need to listen to your body. So I got out, but that feeling of calm kind of turned into this feeling of being absolutely empowered and invincible, and that lasted for the rest of the day. And it was the first time I had ever felt empowered by physical exercise or a physical activity. I'd always left a PE lesson or any kind of sport feeling less than, and I felt incredible. And so I've carried on doing it. And that feeling of I can't do this doesn't go away. It lessens sometimes. And when I'm standing on the edge of the water and thinking, God, my toes are cold, why am I doing this? This is ridiculous. And then I wade in and I do it. And that journey from fear to invincibility is one that has bled into every aspect of my life. I've done things since becoming a Bluetit that 21-year-old me would never have thought that I could do. I now run a number of businesses, one of which is a shepherd's hut on the cliff top, which is my favourite place to read or write before or after a swim when it's not full of guests. And that was scary. Starting anything is scary, and you think, I can't do this. I've been on live television. I've been interviewed by Louise Minchin on live television as part of the Bluetits. And I had that feeling when they were counting down to going live. I was thinking, I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm going to faint. I'm going to be sick. I'm going to have a heart attack. I can't do it. But I did it. I did it. And I continue to do it. And fear never goes away. Life is full of stuff that you're scared of, but when you push your limits over and over again, something happens to your brain that just reminds it that you can do it and that you're stronger than you think. And not only that, not only is there the personal journey, as the Bluetits has grown, there's this feeling that I am surrounded by an army of incredible people who, yes, are joined by a love of the water and a love of cold water swimming, but are also joined by this knowledge that they're stronger than anyone would think that they are, or that they thought that they were. And this community is there at a swim, and it's worldwide. There are people in New Zealand and Canada and America who I feel connected to in this. And, you know, the people that I swim with, they're themselves. You can't, when you get into cold water, any mask that you've been wearing throughout the day, at work or at home, you can't keep that up in the water. Cold water will bring down any barrier that you have between you and other people. Because you go into survival mode, it's bloody cold in there. You can't help but be authentically yourself. And again, when that happens over and over again, you start to really like yourself. I've started to really like myself. I'm funny, I'm strong, I'm beautiful, no matter what anyone says. I don't feel like this 6 foot gawky thing anymore. I'm a woman, and that is something that I didn't know if I would ever get to without the amazing woman that was my mum. But I've done it and I'm doing it, and it's honestly thanks to the Bluetits.